Hi, everybody. Welcome to our admissions webinar today. We're very excited to share with you the launch of the new Master of Family Wealth Management program offered by the Hong Kong Institute for Humanities and Social Sciences here at Hong Kong U. So let me start by sharing our agenda today. So in the next hour, we'll share with you first the inception of this program, how this actually came about. And then secondly, we'll have a sneak peek into some of what our students would learn from this program to showcase how it's different from and complementary to other existing programs at Hong Kong U and other tertiary institutions either here in the region or elsewhere in the world. And third, we'll share more specific details on the curriculum and admissions details. There's a lot of inquiries since we've announced the launch of this program, and we'd love to share some of that details with you today. Now, finally, we'll leave time for some Q&A, some questions and answers at the end. Our Q&A will be operated through the Zoom function. So if you see the button on Zoom where it says Q&A, please type in your questions there via Zoom. And our Hong Kong U colleagues online will consolidate and pass to us, the speakers, during the Q&A session. But first, let's start with a round of introductions, starting with myself. I'm Bonnie Leung, the Program Director for the Master of Family Wealth Management Program. We also affectionately call it FWM or FOM, if you think about family, WM, FOM. I'm your host today, and I'm the third speaker in this presentation. Also with me, I have our Institute's Director, Professor Chen Zhiwu, as well as our Associate Professor, Dr. John Wong. Professor Chen is Chair and Chen Yutong Professor in Finance at the University of Hong Kong. He currently serves as the director of this institute, but also the Center of Quantitative History at the university. His research covers finance history, finance theory, the sociology of finance, economic history, quantitative history, emerging markets, as well as China's economy and capital markets. So quite a broad portfolio that Professor Chen has. Prior to joining Hong Kong U, Professor Chen was Professor of Finance at Yale University from 1999 to 2017. He was also a special term visiting professor at Peking University and at Tsinghua University. Not only that, Professor Chen was also a founding member of hedge fund company Seabrook Capital Management and has advised many family offices, hedge funds, private equity funds, and investment institutes. Welcome, Professor Chen.
Yeah, thank you, Bonnie.
Now, I'll second thank you, Professor Chen. My other partner in crime here, my other presenter is Associate Professor Dr. John Wong. His research focuses on the flow of people, goods, capital, and ideas, with a particular interest in Hong Kong and the Pearl River Delta or Greater Bay Area. He explores how such flows connect the region to the Chinese political center in the north, as well as to maritime partners in the South China Sea and beyond. For the FWM program, Dr. John will be teaching business history and best practices, a course that explores family wealth management from the perspectives of business history. It offers a historical perspective on the evolution of family businesses, the management, and the contribution to generating and preserving wealth over generations. Dr. Wong received his Bachelor of Arts honors in economics from the University of Chicago, his MBA from Stanford University, and his PhD in history from Harvard University. He's worked for a number of years in finance and holds the designation of Chartered Financial Analyst, CFA. Welcome, Dr. John.
Thank you, Bonnie.
Thank you for being here today, John. Now, last but not least, myself, as I mentioned earlier, I'm the program director for the Master of Family Wealth Management FWM FOM program. I come to Hong Kong U from decades of experience in the industry. I was with BlackRock, one of the world's largest asset management firms, where I held various COO positions. And I was also a founding member of the Asia Pacific Sustainable Investing team. Prior to BlackRock, I served as a consultant and professional development manager at the strategy consulting firm McKinsey & Company, where I focused on the financial services industry. At Hong Kong U, my academic focus will be on ESG investing in the context of family wealth. I started actually my academic career in architecture. So I received my Bachelor of Science and my Bachelor of Architecture from McGill University in Canada. And I hold an MBA from the Wharton School at University of Pennsylvania. So with all that introduction, let me now actually turn it over to Professor Chen, where he can share a bit more about the inception of this program and its critical placement amongst the existing master's level offering. Over to you, Professor Chen.
Thank you, Bunny. Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to this special event to talk about this wonderful program. So first, why a dedicated program to family wealth management? Of course, as you can see from the name of the program, we combine family and wealth together to design this program. Okay, so the focus is on both hard skills as well as soft skills. So hard skills come in the form of learning about asset allocation, investment management, family succession planning. Soft skills include the history of the family, the history of family dynasties, as well as the history of wealth, and then culture, psychology, and human behavior in management and in leadership. Of course, some of you may wonder, why we want to combine this program when there are so many master's degree programs out there in finance, economics, as well as in history, psychology, and leadership training. From my own experience and also many years of interactions with fund management companies and family offices in particular, I've learned that just knowing the hard skills about asset allocation and investment management or economic analysis would typically not be sufficient to satisfy the working environment in a typical family office or in private wealth management. So this is why I felt very strongly that there should be dedicated programs to family wealth management and family offices, because a family office environment, it's not like a big corporation. When you work in a big corporation like Goldman or UBS and so on, you just do your part. You don't have to care so much about what is going on within the company or even within the department you work in. Okay, but in a family office environment, you interact with typically the owner or the boss of the family office and maybe a dozen or 2 dozens of other colleagues. So you interact with them in multiple capacities and multiple functions. So this is why knowing more about the history of the family and family business dynasties, as well as knowing more about cultural issues and how you can communicate with people of different backgrounds, different characters, and different professional skills and so on, is very, very fundamentally important. Of course, I can say that the reason that we cover history, or we include history courses of various topics in our curriculum, it has to do with many historical lessons that people have learned. For example, I have this wonderful book here, The Missing Billionaires. So this book basically makes a very important point. That is, back in 1900, there were about 4,000 millionaire families in the US. If all those 4,000 millionaire families had invested their money in the American stock market all the years until last year, and then in addition, if all those families had done their family planning properly and had kept their families together instead of seeing their family falling apart or their descendants not working together as part of the family, then today in America, as of 2022, there should have been more than 20,000 billionaire American families. But in reality, there are only about 700 billionaire families. Of course, many of you will react right away. Wow, 700 billionaire families. That's many. Well, there could have been many more. Then you wonder why so many more, more than 20,000 potential billionaire families have not become reality, have not materialized. Well, there are many reasons. First of all, some of them have not managed their investments properly. They have not done their asset allocation properly. And then secondly, equally importantly, many of their families have done a poor job doing family succession planning and doing family planning in making sure that they have enough children, they have their children majoring in different disciplines and learning different things, not only hard skills, but also soft skills. Of course, some of you may wonder, why am I talking about the American experience? What about Chinese experience, Hong Kong experience? I can tell you, Hong Kong is a very unique place because over the last several decades or over the last 1.5 centuries, unfortunately, many Hong Kong business families have gone through a lot of legal fights because their founding fathers or founding grandfathers did not do a good job in family succession planning, so that after they died, their descendants were fighting with each other to decide who would get more of their family wealth and who would inherit the family business and so on. So there are many, many lessons Hong Kong can offer, especially when we talk about China. Now in China there are so many billionaire and millionaire families. The family succession planning and the family investment management challenges are very, very real. So this is why Hong Kong is a place, Hong Kong U in particular, is a great place to learn about family wealth management and family office management, in particular, how you or your future boss can actually avoid all those historical lessons. But of course, there are also challenges and opportunities that are coming up. According to this study I'm showing you here, around the world, there were about 48,000. There were about 48,799 millionaire or high net worth families around the world. But today, there are many more such high net worth families around the world. Actually, about 109 million, people around the world who have more than $10 million of family wealth. And then if we focus on the ultra high net worth individuals and families, back in 2017, there were about 402,000 such individuals and families around the world. But today, there are more than 580,000 ultra high net worth families and individuals. The projection is that by 2027, there will be about 750,000 individuals and their families with satisfying this ultra high net worth standard. So what this projection all means is that there is a lot of demand for services, for better services that those ultra high net worth and high net worth families really need in order to help them avoid the same mistakes those rich American billionaire families have made over the last 120 years. So next slide. Yeah, so some of you may wonder, gee, is there really so much need for better services and better advice, to satisfy the needs of those high net worth families as well as ultra high net worth families, according to this study by Lombard Odier. Among those really ultra high net worth families and individuals, they are only able to give a 3.4 points out of 5 point total perfect scoring in terms of satisfaction level to the services they're getting from private banks, as well as the commercial banks. So indeed, many of them have shown a high degree of dissatisfaction with the services they're getting from their banks and their financial advisors. This is also why we want to offer this master's degree program in family wealth management. And then in terms of the news about Hong Kong trying to get into the family office industry, in particular, some of you have heard, Hong Kong competing with Singapore. From what we can see, this is all good news from the young students' perspective, because in Hong Kong, the Hong Kong government last year made a decision to really make the family office industry one of its major focused new development industries. In particular, the Hong Kong government wants to have at least 200 family office firms located in Hong Kong by the year 2025. So they are offering a lot of initiatives to really promote this industry. So this is partly why we are starting this master's degree program, so that the Hong Kong government has such a need, and then we can train the young professionals who have both hard skills as well as soft skills to really help Hong Kong move further into the family office industry. On the other hand, if some of you say that, I may not want to work in Hong Kong, I want to work in Singapore or somewhere else, well, that's okay, because today there are about 1,200 family offices in Singapore. Actually, just 5 years ago, there were fewer than 100 family offices in Singapore. But today, there are more than 1,200 family offices employing a lot of people. So overall, the tale of two cities, Hong Kong and Singapore, both shows that they need the demand for well-trained professionals who really know how to make investment management, asset allocation decisions, and also who have soft skills with exposure to a lot of historical lessons, historical success stories as well, and also who have a good exposure to culture, psychology, and many other disciplines that are needed for being a successful investment, as well as family office, family succession professional. Then some of you may wonder why the Hong Kong Institute for the Humanities and Social Sciences is offering this program. First I have to say that I've spent almost 40 years doing research and teaching in finance, as well as doing practice in finance. I've also spent many years studying family business dynasties. In fact, I hope in a couple of years I will have a book talking about 15 to 20 family business dynasty cases from Chinese history, Hong Kong's history, as well as from Japan, from Europe, and the US, and so on. In addition, this institute when it was founded more than 10 years ago, its predecessor, as well as the institute itself, has really devoted a lot of efforts to the study and the writing, on family business dynasties in Hong Kong and beyond. In fact, Professor Wong is an expert who has done many years of work on Hong Kong's family business history and the different family businesses. Many of you know about Li Kai-shing, and then the Bank of East Asia, Li family, and many, many others. So my colleagues and former professors at the Institute have all done a lot of work. So to make a long story short, we have a number of experts at the Institute, as well as colleagues in the Faculty of Business and Economics at HKU, as well as the Faculty of Arts, offering specialties in financial markets, business history, family business dynasties, quantitative history, and the Greater Bay Area economy and society, as well as religious studies, in particular, the Taoism, local religions, and Buddhism, as well as the Christian Church, as well and other religions in Asia. So we together at this institute, we really follow and live with a very interdisciplinary approach to research and education. So I hope that if you join us, you'll be very happy with what we're going to offer. And also, I'm pretty sure that my colleagues and I will do our best to help you develop your future career. Bunny.
Thank you, Professor Chen. And since Professor Chen mentioned about our colleagues here in IHSS and the interdisciplinary nature of all different backgrounds, what we thought we'll do next is to have John share, and Professor Chen actually mentioned this, like Hong Kong being actually a great place to learn about family business and some of the family struggles. So let me pass it over to Dr. Wong, and he can share a bit more about some insights in terms of family dynasties in the Greater Bay Area.
Thanks, Bonnie.
Over to you, John.
Thank you. Well, let me join my colleagues in extending a warm welcome to all of you present today. We're excited about launching this new program on family wealth management at the University of Hong Kong. Indeed, Hong Kong and the Greater Bay Area are an ideal setting for exploring such issues. Few places around the world are as dynamic and as vibrant in wealth creation in short order. That's largely due to the unique geopolitical configuration of this region, and that's true both in its current arrangements as well as in our recent past. We are also living in a transcultural zone that presents opportunities and challenges to enterprising individuals and families. Let me give you an example that's just a stone throw away from where I sit right now. Shenzhen, barely a 20-minute high-speed rail ride from where I sit. Tencent. The market cap of the company is close to $400 billion US. It wasn't even around during the handover of 1997. And Ma Huateng is now the 42nd wealthiest person on earth with an estimated net worth of about $34 billion US, down from a high of 66 billion, but I think he's doing plenty fine. And as impressive as Ma and Tencent are in their phenomenal rise in the special economic zone of Shenzhen, they are only following in the footsteps of certain Hong Kong families who made their fortunes in the previous decades. And the example I'm going to show you, Henry Fok, is just one of these cases. Now, Henry was one of the most prominent tycoons in Hong Kong and mainland China. During a period of political upheaval, he made his fortune and in the process shaped the nation as well. He passed away at the age of 83 in the year 2006. At that time, he was the 7th wealthiest man in Hong Kong with a net worth of $3.7 billion. Now, only in the year 2022 did the battle over his estate end. And that's because of some dispute among his various children, 13 of them in total from a total of 3 marriages. And that involved primarily some dispute over property development in mainland China. Why is that important? Well, it shows us the issue of cross-border asset allocation. And that comes with its own opportunities as well as problems of succession. And that's only compounded by cultural patterns of family configurations quite common in this part of the world. Dramatic as the Fox case might seem, it paled in comparison to Nina Wang's case. Nina Wang's Chinese name was Gong Yusam. She died in the year 2007. At that time, she was one of Asia's richest women with an estimated net worth of 4.2 billion US dollars. She was married to Teddy Wang, a chemical company tycoon, who was kidnapped in 1990, never to be found again, only declared dead without any trace of his body in 1999. Nina took over Chinacam and became the chair lady of that enterprise, transforming it in the decades when Teddy was no longer around into a property developer. When she died in 2007, Little Sweetie, as she was called, was said to have 2 wills, one penned in 2002 that allegedly left all her fortune to a charitable trust, and a later one that was dated 2006, leaving her personal finances or her fortune to her feng shui master, Tony Chen or Peter Chen, as the beneficiary of the entire estate. The battle only ended in 2010 when the court decided that this feng shui master could well have been her secret lover, but the later will was deemed a forgery. Why am I telling you about these colorful cases? They're indicative of the opportunities of wealth creation in Hong Kong and the region, as well as the issue of family wealth management and succession. In fact, this is not new. And I'll show you a case of Ho Kwa, this 19th century entrepreneur in Canton, or present-day Guangzhou. His name was Wu Bingjian in Chinese. Why is that important? Well, he was so powerful that he basically controlled the world's tea supply in the decades leading up to the Opium War. And he was so wealthy, he amassed so much wealth and controlled so much of the resources in that global system at the time that even the mighty British East India Company borrowed from him to finance the global trade. He too operated in a family business. What does that mean? Well, he started doing business with his brother and a cousin from different branches of the family. And the articles of incorporation was actually a genealogy. Not everyone was actually in the family business. It's just Ho Kwa and his brother, the 2 shaded gray boxes to the bottom right of the screen. How do you calibrate shareholding in such a configuration then? Well, it was according to units in the family, Fang in particular. So that delineated who is in, who is not. So in essence, even for an enterprise this big, they conducted the business in the idiom of family. But it was not totally rigid. This whole business of doing business in a family was quite fluid, as that allowed for adoption across branches of the family. It was becoming so powerful by the end of the 20th century or the 19th century that this Wu family had investments through a blind trust in US assets as well, including US railroads, railroad companies that were just getting developed at that time. So now from our 21st century vantage point, we may consider this archaic. Why would they not just adopt, say, joint stock companies that would allow for continuity, better pooling of capital for big enterprises? But no, just like many of the family enterprises of today, the issue was control, family control of the business. And Ho Kwa was not the only one. So why am I telling you this story from the past? What we construe as international systems of exchange is becoming increasingly inadequate in brokering financial and commercial relations as geopolitics shift. We cannot be too rigid. We cannot be too rigid on our mindset. We cannot be too fixed in our course of action. The family form is alive and well, with regional characteristics. Family businesses are an investment option in the marketplace, and family is also a unit of wealth preservation and expansion that work plenty fine as well. I look forward to working with you in our new program, a program that brings together experts in the Institute, Hong Kong U, as well as partners in academia and in industry. And hopefully, it'll also attract the great minds like the many of you present today. Thank you very much. Back to you, Bonnie.
Great. Thank you so much, John. That was a very colorful sharing of Greater Bay Area family dynasties, past and present. I hope the audience enjoyed it as much as I did, and I got a better sense of how this program differs from other existing offerings. Now, if we kind of bring it back to the program and the structure of the program, as I mentioned, we're very happy that there's been a lot of interest since we've announced the launch of this program, and we've received a lot of inquiries for further details. And today we're going to share a bit more of that in terms of curriculum structure, key dates, admission criteria, as well as resources. So at the very end, we'll also share QR codes for our website as well as our social media accounts, where you can find more information as well as the admission portal. But let's start with the curriculum first. As Professor Chen mentioned earlier, the FOM program, the FWM program, is an interdisciplinary curriculum that emphasizes the intersection across the historical roots and cultural dimensions of the family business, and investment markets. So we expect that students will be required to complete 10 courses, including 6 core courses, 3 elective courses, and a capstone project course. And these courses are spread across 3 focal areas. The first is family business, succession planning, and economics. The second is business history, economic history, financial market history, and cross-cultural management. And then the third is corporate finance and investment management. So you can see that in the 6 core courses we have here, it spans across those topics. Then we also have an offering of 9 electives that students may choose from, and they would take 3 out of those. And they kind of go into further details on these key topics that I mentioned. There's also an opportunity for students, if they are so interested and upon approval, to also take 1 course from the Master of Social Sciences in the field of nonprofit management, but that's subject to approval by both schools. And finally, there's a capstone project. So students will either collaborate on a group research project, or they can pursue an internship practicum in the industry. So this is the key, core structure of the curriculum. Now, who will deliver these courses? So here's a sample of the instructors that we will be lining up. The key here is we want to stress again, and both John and Professor Chen mentioned this, is that this will be taught in an interdisciplinary style with a cross-curricular team. So we have leading scholars at Hong Kong U. We may also invite some from other institutions, and we also have industry practitioners with deep experience in the field. So here are some examples. You've already met Professor Chen, and whilst John and I are not on this slide, we rest assured that we're also part of the faculty. In addition, we have a number of our colleagues who have joint appointments with both the Institute and the Business School. So for example, Professor Gao Pingyang, Professor Dragon Tang, Dr. Chi Cheng Ma, Dr. Andrew Sinclair. These are all professors who are also with the Business School and have a background in business or finance. So I'll use Professor Gao as an example. He is currently the Associate Dean at the Hong Kong U Business School and also the Zhang Yonghong Professor in Accounting. He joined Hong Kong U Business School in 2020, and until then, before then, he was actually on the faculty of Chicago Booth since 2008. He also spent the fall of 2019 at Yale as a visiting professor. So that's an example of some of the profiles from our business school colleagues, joint appointments. On the other hand, we've also have joint appointments from more the humanities or the arts faculty. There is Dr. David Palmer, Professor David Palmer, as well as Dr. Gas Mosen, and obviously Dr. Wong here. So I'll give an example again, Professor Palmer. He's a professor jointly appointed by the Hong Kong Institute for Humanities and Social Sciences, as well as the Department of Sociology in the University of Hong Kong. He was the Eileen Barker Fellow in Religion and Contemporary Society in the Department of Sociology at the London School of Economics and Political Science. And from 2004 to 2008, he was the director of the Hong Kong Center of the French School of Asian Studies, located at the Institute for Chinese Students Studies at the Chinese University of Hong Kong. So here's another example of profile. Now, last but not least, we also need to have industry practitioners who share kind of more the implementation and the execution side, myself being one of them. But here we also have Miss Maggie Chen on the bottom right-hand corner. She's the founder of Forecourt Partners, which provides strategic consulting services to some of the most prestigious family offices globally. So prior to that, she served as the Chief Investment Officer of Johnson & Management Company, which is a preeminent single-family office in Asia. Maggie also held roles in China's State Investment Company, which is the Hong Kong branch of the Chinese Sovereign Wealth Fund. And she worked in New York with the Mergers and Acquisition Group at AIG, as well as in investment banking at Morgan Stanley. Maggie graduated summa cum laude with a Bachelor of Science from Michigan Technological University and earned her MBA from Yale. So this is an example, a sample slate of the faculty that you may encounter should you join our program. If we move on to the next slide, let's also talk about some key facts, the things that people are most, high level interested in. The first thing is we're looking at, this is a full-time 1-year master's program. For our inaugural class intake for 2024, we're targeting approximately 70 students. So it's a relatively intimate class for inaugural class. The majority of the form classes are envisioned to be conducted in May Hall, which is where this institute is based. And May Hall is actually a very beautiful historical declared monument building at the heart of Hong Kong U's main campus. So we're very excited about bringing in, welcoming our students here come fall. The session dates will be from August 2024. So we expect that students will be on campus by, say, the last week of August 2024. And they will end somewhere in the first week of July 2025. And how we'll structure the program is in 6-week modules. So there will be, each student will take about 1 to 3 courses, depending on the elective choices in each module, or up to the 10 courses I had mentioned. And tuition-wise, we will be looking and we're proposing Hong Kong dollars, $350,000 for the entire program, which will be charged on a semi-annual basis. Now, the next question is admission criteria. How do we, who would be eligible for admissions to the Master of FWM Form program? There are minimum requirements, and they're what we're actually looking for. So let's start with the minimum requirements in Hong Kong U in terms of being able to qualify for a top postgraduate program, as this is called. A candidate must hold a bachelor's degree, either from this university or institution of comparable standard. And you need to satisfy other Hong Kong U general regulations, of which English language proficiency is one of the things that quite a lot of people ask about. There are some minimum Hong Kong U English language proficiency requirements. If your post-secondary education was not conducted in English, then we do kind of require that you provide proof either in a TOEFL test, IELTS test, GCE, etc. And these are actually located and made available in terms of reference for you in the Hong Kong U website. Now, obviously, those are kind of minimums. We're looking for students who really can succeed in an English environment. So those are kind of the minimum requirements, but what are we actually looking for? What is the team actually looking for? So the admissions committee is looking for recent university graduates or young professionals who exhibit a propensity to become well-rounded family wealth managers. And what does that mean? That means that there's a ability to succeed academically. They're intellectually curious across a wide range of topics. So Professor Chen already talked about the interdisciplinary nature. We're not just looking at either investment management, history, or succession planning, but all of the above, right? So, and we want to have students who are actually passionate about the space, passionate about family wealth management. And last but not least, you have the potential to make an impact in your future work. Now, prior work experience is not required, either in wealth management or otherwise. we, the admissions committee, will review each candidate's profile holistically across your academic, extracurricular, and work experiences, and we'll think holistically about that. So having said all of that, what would be kind of some potential profiles of applicants? Here's an example. It's not exhaustive, not limited to, but some examples we say if you're a recent university graduate looking to complement your undergraduate major with more well-rounded postgraduate studies. So for example, a psychology or engineering major looking to acquire financial market knowledge, or a finance major looking to better understand family psychology, or an economics major looking to expand into history and finance. Another profile may be early career professionals looking to expand horizons or upgrade their skills. So you may be a tax consultant, a lawyer, a private banker, investment advisor, a fund manager, and you'd like to better understand your entire spectrum of your client needs, particularly family offices and from family businesses. Last but not least, another profile would be younger members of families seeking insights on family wealth management, succession planning, family business development, and governance. So these are some examples of what may be some applicants. Of course, if there are others, again, we'll look kind of holistically across that profile. So next, then, let's actually talk about the application process. So the application process, we will have a online application via the Hong Kong U portal. So this is the centralized Hong Kong U portal. As I mentioned at the very end, we'll have the QR codes as well as kind of at the very end, we'll have a link to a website. And from our program website, you will be able to click into the Hong Kong U central portal. We will require some additional materials in addition to whatever is on the online form. First of all, is personal particulars. So your CVs, academic certificates, transcripts, work experience, and proof, etc. Now, the second is we'd like to learn more about you. We really want to know you as a person. So we'd like to get two essays from you, 300 words max. So it's actually a very brief write-up. But what we'd like to know is first, a personal statement on the motivation to pursue this program. What are your career aspirations? How would this program help you to achieve those aspirations? The second is a short essay on what is the meaning of family to you. So we'd like to understand you better by understanding kind of how you think about family. Next, we'd like to also have 2 letters of recommendation. Again, max 300 words, can be less, from individuals who know you well, either from a professional or academic setting. So we'd like the referees to tell us why they believe that the candidate will be a good fit for the phone program. And then, as I mentioned, if you're an applicant from an institution where the language of teaching or examination was not in English, then we would need proof of English language proficiency. And then last but not least, GMAT GRE scores. Quite a number of people have asked about this. They're not required, they're optional. That said, if you do have good scores, that will be favorably considered. So do put them in for us for our reference, so that we can understand you better. So with all of that, in terms of the application deadline, we have 2. We'll go in round 1 and round 2. So the first round will finish February 29th, 2024. And the second round will be April 30th, 2024. For both of those, the deadline is 12 noon Hong Kong time. Now, let me finish up with the last slide here before I open up for Q&A. I'm mindful of time. I'm sure there's a lot of people who are eager for the questions. Let me also talk about scholarship. So we've actually set aside some funding for some merit-based scholarship to the program. Up to 3 scholarships may be granted to qualified students, very well qualified students, to partially cover the tuition. If you would like to be considered for a scholarship, then there's an additional statement in the admissions portal. It is again 300 words, and what we ask is for the candidate to provide a rationale on why he or she thinks that he or she is most qualified for the scholarship. And we've given some examples of what you may include, but not limited to, things like past contribution to society and a wealth management industry, right? The second is the career aspiration and how that may contribute to society and the wealth management industry after graduation from the phone program. And last but not least is kind of intended use of the scholarship money if you receive. Again, these are some examples, but we welcome any other materials or information that support the candidacy. And the scholarship candidates may be invited to a interview. We also say that the number and amounts of scholarships are subject to discretion of the program office. It depends on what is kind of the caliber that we're looking at in terms of the candidates. So that ends. We're clocking at time. So let me close the formal presentation of the webinar and move on to the Q&A session. Let me see if my colleagues have actually logged in some questions here. Let's see. So here's one question. I noticed many open roles in family wealth management require significant experience, while opportunities for fresh graduates seems relatively fewer. Do you foresee this situation improving? How would you characterize entry-level prospects for students graduating from this master program? I want to see if Professor Chen, you would like to open in terms of addressing this question.
Yes, thank you, Bonnie. I would say just like any other organization, there are different levels of jobs within a typical family office. So some of the jobs may require very, a lot of experience and very rich, diverse background. On the other hand, there are also very entry-level jobs. So among the family offices, I know they typically have some employees who just came out of bachelor's degree programs, whereas the mid-level managers, of course, typically family offices would have more mid-level manager roles. Besides the very senior ones and some of the supporting staff at the bottom with just a college degree. So I think for our graduates from this master's degree program, we expect them to enter at in between the college graduate level of entry-level jobs and the mid-level manager jobs. Well, I do think the demand will improve. As I mentioned earlier, the Hong Kong government is trying very hard to promote this industry in Hong Kong and also trying to compete with Singapore. And at the moment, Singapore is getting too crowded. So the Singapore government is trying to raise the requirements for family offices to settle there. So in any case, this competition will only make it better for our graduates from this master's degree program. So I do see the demand to grow.
Great, thank you, Professor Chen. I'd like to add, to that in terms of that, we envision the graduates to have a quite wide variety of spectrum of industries, right? So certainly we talk about family offices, but private wealth management, private banking, financial planning, asset management. If you have previous experience in, say, tax or legal, right, law, that's also something that could explore. So there's actually quite a wide range of roles and industries within family wealth management.
Yeah, actually, let me also quickly add, I founded a hedge fund company with another Yale professor more than 20 years back. I noticed that from our hedge fund company's perspective, we did feel a need to have someone who could actually relate to family office managers, who would understand, the needs of family offices. So this is why, indeed, as Bonnie just mentioned, the job prospects do not just lie in the family office industry. Rather, you can get jobs in private banking, and asset allocation service companies, as well as mutual fund companies, hedge fund companies, and family planning firms, and even tax advisory firms. When they try to get family offices as their clients, they do need people who understand family offices.
Yes, definitely. Agree with that. Okay, let's move on to next question. So here's the next question. All the courses conducted in English, what is the minimum requirement in terms of IELTS and TOEFL score? So yes, this is an all English program, and candidates are expected to meet the minimum English language proficiency requirements. In terms of TOEFL, the HKU requirements is a score of 550 or above in the paper base TOEFL, a score of 213 or above in the computer base, and a score of 80 or above in the internet-based TOEFL. And the IELTS, the Hong Kong U is looking at a minimum overall band of 6 with no subtest lower than 5.5. There are also other qualifications that one can take, including GCE, IGCSE, and Cambridge Test of Proficiency, which are all available on the website. Okay. Then I see here next another question. Are there any course exemption if a candidate holds any professional designations such as FRM, CFA, CAIA, etc.? Does knowledge in finance and investment require for me to apply and enroll in this program? Okay, so let me answer the second part of the question first, and then I'll go back to the first part, because in some ways you can say that they're kind of linked. So as I mentioned before, in terms of admissions, so we seek students who are passionate about managing family wealth and family offices. So regardless of the prior education and work, at the beginning of the program, we'll be offering an elective called Introduction to Economics and Finance. So if you happen to be somebody who doesn't have prior knowledge in finance and investment, then taking that elective at the start may be a good idea. Now, on the other hand, in terms of students who already have a certain qualification, at this point, we're not looking to to waive courses, if you would. The 6 core courses are a mix of topics across different disciplines, and we think that if a student has a kind of some of the topics in their undergraduate studies, but nobody has actually done exactly the same group of courses, right? So therefore, we ask each student to complete all 6 core courses to be on a level playing field. If a student finds that you're an expert in a certain topic, then we would encourage you to share that knowledge and enhance the classroom learning via class participation. I will see if Professor Chen has anything to add to that. The second point I made, which is actually the first point of the question.
That's good. Yeah, I don't have anything else to add. Yeah.
Okay, great. All right. Next question. Let me actually ask John to answer this one. Will students of this program enjoy the same facilities and services as other Hong Kong U students?
Most definitely. You are a full-fledged card-carrying member of the Hong Kong U community, so you have access to all facilities, including certainly the library, electronic databases, the Hong Kong U University Health Services, our fitness facilities and everything. And also do consider yourself a member of the wider graduate student community as well. They have a lot of social events, field trips, career building exercises, sport games. I think that's an integral part of the experience here in Hong Kong U. And you will not just make friends here with the 70 strong member cohort in the incoming class, but also the larger community of Hong Kong U, both your instructors and your fellow students as well.
Thank you for that sharing. I know that John's kind of around the campus because he kind of runs across this institute and the Faculty of Arts as well. So he knows the campus quite well. Now, the next question we have here is for the capstone project, are students responsible for securing their internships, or are there designated partner corporations that collaborate with the program to provide internship opportunities? Professor Chen, would you like to take this one?
Yeah, I think, of course, we cannot promise that everyone will get an internship position somewhere, but we do have some partner institutions that will offer, in each case, a few internship positions. So we will help our students to apply and get such internship positions. But at the same time, we also expect the students to work hard on their own to find such opportunities.
Thank you, Professor Chen. We'll definitely, the FWM program office, of which I will head, will definitely provide advice and resources. There's also Hong Kong U also has the Center of Development and Resources for Students, short name CEDARS, where there's actually further student support, but will definitely help our students both in terms of internship and full-time placements, but ultimately it is actually with the students, their individual performance as well as fit with the organization.
Bunny, let me also add that I have had many years of experience teaching in MBA programs, at Yale, at the University of Wisconsin, and then at Hong Kong U. All those years, what I've learned about successful MBA programs is that they do offer a lot of good services to help students get jobs. So I think this is helping students to get jobs, not just internship positions, will be a very big part of our efforts, even though we cannot guarantee everyone a job, because as all of us know, whether one gets a good job is a function of many factors, but we will try our best to offer help.
Yes, I agree. Thank you. Moving on, I'm aware of time and I want to answer as many questions as possible. So let's go to the next one here. There's a question here around whether review of applications will be on a rolling basis or whether there will be a unified release result after the first round of deadline. That would be the latter. So we would actually batch all the first round applications and review all in one batch. And then again, we will batch the second round applications and then review all in together, and potentially also with some of the first round applications as well. So you would expect that the release of result after each round. And then there is here a question on, is there any written test or interview for admission? So written tests, only the ones that I've mentioned in terms of standardized tests. So if you require the English test, then that would be something you have to produce. As I mentioned, if you have GRE or GMAT scores, that would be a good reference point for us. But our own institute will not be administering any written tests per se. As for interviews, as mentioned earlier, it's for the scholarship candidates. We will be asking or inviting them over for interviews. Then the next question here is in terms of question essay number 2, there's a question of the meaning of family and what does it mean here? Is it referring to small family or huge family with several generations? That's up to your interpretation. That's exactly what we'd love to hear from you, and that's how we want to get to know you better. So this is an open-ended question and no model answer to that. And then I have another question here. Will you accept part-time students? I mentioned this earlier in the presentation. At this moment, we're targeting a full-time 1-year taught master's program. So for the fall intake, the first inaugural intake, there will be no part-time options. Okay. We are actually at time, but there's one last question. So what I will do is I will answer very quickly this one last question, and then we'll actually wrap it up. So the question here is, are 2 essays important to the application? Could you tell me the direction of writing? Yes, all the things that we asked you for, be it the essays, be it the recommendations, be it your standardized tests, all of them are important because we want to understand you and think of you holistically. So yeah, that is something, and we want to hear from you. The direction of writing should be about you. So that's the most important aspect. I'm sorry that we have to wrap up. It's 6:30. I'm really excited, and I hope I spoke on behalf of both Professor Chen as well as John, that to have all of these questions, that means that you're also very engaged. Unfortunately, we couldn't answer all of them today, but you can see more information. We now actually have our official dedicated program website live, so you can use the QR code here to refer to it. We also have a number of social media accounts. If you happen to follow these, you can also use the QR code. And I understanding that our technology team at EN will also close this with a link to our website. If you have any other questions, you can see that here, our email address as well as a telephone if you do actually need to have reach us in terms of a hotline for information. So I think with that, let me wrap it up because now we're 1 minute late, over time. Thank you so much for all of you to join us today, and we hope to hear from you and see you in our application.
Thank you. Yeah, goodbye.
Thank you.
Bye-bye. Thank you.